Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming today. So my name's Lacey and this is Kim, and we are from Council's Community Leasing team. For the purposes of today's presentation, so yes, we'll be talking about the improvement works application process, but we'll probably be using the shorter version IWA, which is the terminology that we use, instead of just using the long name every time. So if you hear IWA, it just means improvement works application. So we'll get that one right off the bat. So we'll be following on from the previous case studies that were spoken about in Michael's presentation for the Tiddlywinks Club. They wish to undertake works to upgrade their lease facility, including the upgrade of amenities, an external storage shed, and just a refurb of their current facility. So we will be explaining the IWA process, and we'll begin with what is an IWA. We'll then talk about when will one be required, what information you need to include, how to apply for one, then what to do once your consent has been provided to the organisation, and what to do once the works are completed. So I'll hand over to Kim.
Thank you, Lacey. So what is an improvement works application? So prior to commencing any permanent or temporary improvements on council-owned or controlled land, the community organisation must submit an IWA seeking landowners' consent from council. So to put it plainly, an IWA is basically a proposal from your organisation asking permission from council to undertake some works at your leased facility. It worked. When is an IWA required? So for any projects that the organisation are looking to undertake that may include works that aren't considered general maintenance, so this is like for like things, new buildings or building extensions, fixed building improvements, which could include aircon, solar, and also activity-related infrastructure. So player shelters, grandstands, field or court lighting, those types of things. Just to name a few more examples that aren't on the board there, some is removal of building and structures. It's not only putting things up, it's taking them down as well. New courts or fields, fencing, filling or earthworks, water tanks, playground equipment, and tree and vegetation works as well is included in that. If at any time you're wondering, trying to scope out your works and thinking, will this need an IWA? Will it really need one? We do urge you to come and speak to the community leasing team because we'll be able to let you know if it does need one or not.
Alrighty, so one of the most important parts of the improvement works process is the information that is submitted with the application. It's really important to include all of it. We really want to get an understanding of what your project is and what changes are going to happen. You know, we just really want to know what's happening. So in the case of the example project, so let's take the shed that they're wanting to install. So they'll require an aerial map of the site and an indication of where that shed's going to be located. This is required because just in case of any future planning requirements that council may have, and back with what Michael and Jamie spoke about, you know, it could be planning schemes and location flood planning as well. They will need, if they were doing their upgrade to their amenities, so they'll need a sketch plan, or will need to be shown electrical plans if there's any electrical works. They will need to be shown plumbing plans, especially, you know, if they've got PWD toilets, you know, we need to know where that access is coming from so we can review that. So we'll need plans of the proposed works, and that would include, you know, a detailed scope of works. Again, we're just trying to get an understanding of exactly what you're planning to do. Then we'll also need a quotation for all the works that you're planning to do. And you're probably asking, well, if we're doing the works and we're funding it, why do you need to have the quote? We just want to make sure that the work's been done to Australian standards. And we just want to also confirm that you've considered any certification costs. So again, going back to the previous slide, and we use this shed as the example, that private building certification, want to make sure that those costs are included. If there's any structural certifications such as Form 15s or Form 30s that may need to be included, sometimes they aren't put in quotes. So we're just wanting to confirm that you've, you know, captured everything that you could. For subtenants and co-tenants, you'll need a letter of support for your proposed project from the lessee or co-tenant. So for example, here at South Pine Sports Complex, you've got the one head lessee, which is South Pine Sports Association. All the other groups that would be involved under the association who hires or subtenants, they would need a letter of support from South Pine Sports Association to before we could undertake the project or before we could provide any consent. And then lastly, if we don't have a copy of your organisation's certificate of currency on file, then we would request one before we started. It's really important to include all of the information. If there is anything further that we do need, we will of course contact you, but it's just we want to know what you're doing so we can, when it goes out to stakeholders, we can answer any questions and we can avoid any delays in the process and sort of just knock those things on the head before they happen. So how do you actually submit an improvement works application? I can say down there. So I believe you'll be getting all of these resources after the presentation, but even if you just jumped onto our Moreton Bay Regional Council's website and there's a search bar at the top, all you need to do is type in improvement works application and it should be the first link that pops up. You've got a little, just a little section from the main IWA page. So this items that I spoke about on the last slide, is also listed here. So if you can't remember what you may need, or, you know, it's just a little reminder here. There are also, the application may request additional information too, depending on what your project may be. And then all you need to do is click that little submit application button. This is what it'll look like from a customer point of view. So when you log in, and we recently, last year, we transitioned to a new system. So if you haven't logged in yet, or you have been experiencing issues with logging into our online services portal, please feel free to give our customer service team a ring and they should be able to assist with any questions you have about getting access. So you want to come in, this will be your home page. You need to enter that inquiries tab. Underneath that, there'll be community-council support, and you'll see underneath it says apply to undertake improvement works. You just want to click that start button. It'll take you to the application. You see the steps on the side. Under the first drop down, you just click improvement works. And then from there, it'll give a list of projects such as air conditioning, solar. There's an other option if there's nothing that fits into the categories. And then just fill in the prompts from there, and then our team will receive the application. So going back, those instructions are also on the slide here. So it just says go to inquiries and find council support. Keeping in mind that once your consent is provided, it's a 12-month expiry date. So you need to complete the works in 12 months. Obviously, we can understand that there can be delays, delays with grant funding, delays with works even. So, extensions are available, but bearing in mind that there is the initial 12 months.
Thank you. Okay, so what do you do once that consent or that beautiful letter of support, a letter of approval is provided to you? This step is pretty simple, but it's always good to go through it. So we please read the consent letter and understand it in all of its entirety. As you can see in the case studies letter on the screen, it goes through before works and after works. Where's my little laser? Before works and after works, just here. Those are just detailing specifics that will be required for you guys to give to council. So in this instance, a Form 15 will be required for the Tiddlywinks's shed building, as well as a Form 16 and a certificate of testing. So whatever's listed on that letter, we need it back. Once you have gained a complete understanding of the letter, provide a copy of that consent letter to your contractor and make sure they know what their responsibilities are as well. So if they're erecting that shed for you, they need to provide you with the form. After everything's understood from the letter, if at all if the change of scope changes at all, I can't English, advise council if the scope of works changes at all. So if you decide that the shed is going to extend by 3 meters and it's not in that approval letter, please make sure you let us know, because that may, a change to that letter may be needed. So we need some time to get that sorted for you to give you a new one, just in case anything changes. Okay, so what to do once the works are completed. To ensure council's asset and insurance register are updated in a timely manner, after the works are completed, the organisation must advise us that the works are completed. So let us know, boast that that shed is done. We want to celebrate with you that it's all completed. So let us know. After that, when you're letting us know that it's completed, can you please provide council with the documentation detailed in the consent letter? So those are the forms, any forms and certification, warranties, manuals and photos. So let us know that it's all done. That way we can get any insurances in line and get all the back end things done if it's required. Okay, so just a quick summary of the process. Firstly, your organisation is to determine what the project is that you're wanting to do. Secondly, you'd gather that supporting information like Lacey mentioned, so the quotes and the drawings and plans and all those types of things. Thirdly, you would lodge your improvement works application using the on the council website with that little blue lodge button from before. After that, after the 4-6 week processing period, that's when you'll receive your landowner's consent or the approval letter to start the works. After the works will then be completed by you guys within that 12-month period. And then once that letter is completely understood, the works are done, make sure you provide council with those required documents that are listed on that approval letter. On to Lacey.
Okay, so nice, short and sharp, like we like. I forgot to mention before that, yes, and Kim touched on it just then, that the process can take up to 6 weeks to from submission to receiving consent, but also to keep in mind that when grant rounds are open, we can also get a very high demand of IWAs during that period, and it may lead to delays. So it's something to keep in mind if you are going for some grants, because most will need landowners' consent. So if you're wanting to go for a grant that opens in a few months and you already know what your project is, chuck it in. So that's important to make a note of, just that time frame, and during grant rounds it can be quite a high demand. So yeah, we've got some key reminders. So landowners' consent must be received before any works can commence. That's probably the most important thing. In terms of those larger scale developments, so if we're talking the Tiddlywinks project and they're doing that quite large shed, they're doing an upgrade, it's, you know, that basic facility development, contact council sport and rec team and talk through those ideas first. Not necessary if you've got such a small scale, but you don't know what might be the works at council before you go ahead and do something. If you are unsure at any time, you have any questions, any concerns at all, feel free to contact us. There are contact details there. Ring us through. You'll be able to chat to any one of us on the team, and we're more than happy to sit down and answer any questions, go through the process again, explain some things. So yeah, that's it. We're happy to take any questions now. Otherwise, we'll be hanging around at the end to discuss. Yep. So a project that council would pay for? Unless it's a council funded, unless it's a council led project. So it's not something that you would come to council to be like, hey, we've got this idea, would you be able to fund it? Then no. Yeah, it would be through our project management team.
Why does an IWA take up to 6 months?
Good question, Pete. We have a number of internal stakeholders that it needs to be reviewed by. Again, going back to what Jamie, especially Jamie, was speaking about in the last presentation, it needs to go to all of those planning teams. It needs to go to the building and facilities team, especially if it's building. For example, if there's any irrigation projects, apologies, it needs to go to our parks team because they need to think about the mowing requirements that may be around it, that including fencing is a big one with mowing requirements. It needs to go to parks. Signage, it needs to go to public health to make sure, you know, that it's meeting all the requirements. So that's why the process can take a while. And again, it's depending on the complexity of your project too. But oftentimes, sometimes we think something's going to be quite easy. It may turn out to be bigger than Ben-Hur, and then completely the opposite. We may think it may be super big, and it turns out to be a pretty easy project. So that's the reason why it takes so long. It's just going through all those stakeholders for review. Sometimes there's a bit of back and forth. Any more? Perfect. Okay, like I said, we'll be around afterwards if you have anything further. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Let's say one.